When people that are in the Disney World talk about it is a little scary to talk about.
When I was 8 years old, I started having panic attacks. My mental health wasn't very good. Mom was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 7. My parents would be like, "Are you okay? Let's talk about it." And I was like, "I'm so good." I'm not going to burden them with my thoughts because I just kind of bottled a lot of stuff up. I started to get intrusive thoughts just about death and health anxiety too.
Do you even know what a panic attack is at that age?
I didn't know what it was. I didn't realize that they were abnormal until I talked about it out loud, and all the thoughts that I were thinking were people don't obsess about them. Because you could be going through your day and you're like, oh, what is the meaning of life? And they're like, ah.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, whatever. But I would think about it and then I'd be like, wow, that was a scary thought. And then the whole rest of the day I'd just be like, oh, I wonder if everyone else is thinking about this. That's where it becomes intrusive when you give it power.
Meg, welcome to The Squeeze.
Thank you.
This is so fun. I'm so excited. Okay, so we start each episode off with this beautiful jar here. It's called Citrus Got Real. There's a bunch of questions in there. Okay. If you want to pull one out.
Okay, cool.
I would say we start half of the episodes with this.
We try to do
them all.
remember
to.
We try to do them all.
We often forget.
Okay, what is your guilty pleasure TV show? Ooh, that's good. I don't feel guilty about it, but
okay.
I feel like most people would kind of be like, but Bluey?
Oh wow.
Yeah, on what is it? On Disney Plus? Yeah. It's so good.
Is it on? Is that what it is on?
I don't know. Why are you looking at me?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Our friends have that same thing. They have kids, but they put the kids to bed and then they continue to watch it.
Yes.
What?
It's
What
so
is it
good.
about it?
It's it's a kids show.
Yeah.
And most people who watch it have kids, obviously, but the adults also love it because it's really real themes. And there's also a lot of episodes about the parents too, but kids wouldn't pick up on it, but the episodes are all really deep, but the kids don't. It's fun for kids.
Yeah.
What was the one that they showed us? They were you have to sit
down.
down.
Which one was
this
it?
This was we were at a barbecue at their house. And they were
Literally.
can you guys do us a favor? Just give us 20 minutes. Watch this incredible
literally gathered
episode
to people
of Bluey.
before.
All 15 of us that were there
Do you
gathered
remember
us.
which one it was?
Oh, shoot.
Do you know what it is about? I feel like I could if you...
Oh, I think it was Bluey and
Bingo.
in the back seat of a car, and they were talking about, the dad was explaining how one of them processes things differently.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was, right? I don't know why I'm looking at you. Clearly you're not going to remember it.
Yeah, I didn't pay too much attention.
How both kids process things differently, so your parenting styles have to change for the two kids. Yeah.
Was it sad though? I feel like it ended and it was sad.
I think it was more
some are. I feel
Okay.
or melancholy kind of thing.
We have to ask them after this because now I'm really curious.
Yeah.
But they have been telling us to just watch the show. Maybe we need to now.
It's really comforting.
Taylor doesn't do comfort shows.
It's really good.
Yeah, I guess I like high stress shows.
Oh, really?
It's either high stress or...
What's your guilty shows?
Either crime docs or trashy dating shows.
Yeah.
Right.
One or the other.
That
makes sense.
I love a good raunchy dating show.
Mm-hmm.
If it's scripted, it needs to be a murder mystery type, where you're guessing who did it at the end of each episode.
Yeah, but then you don't really do well with those because if it's a show that is high stress, Taylor...
She's about ready to diss me. Here we go.
Am I wrong?
No.
Taylor can't watch shows that... He can watch them, but he just has questions. Shows that make you think and you have to put clues together.
Right.
Taylor can't really do that well. So the whole time we're watching the show, disclaimer, it's
oh yeah, I've heard.
It's intense, but it's very you're trying to figure out what is going on. And every time he's like, wait, what happened? Who is that? Why did they do that? And I'm like, nah.
The worst person to watch a show with.
You, not me.
Yes, me.
Oh, okay, great.
You know how in Marvel movies, I don't know why Marvel movies specifically, but they just say so much exposition to explain what's happening.
Yeah.
Because most people, whatever. And I think We were watching like Black Panther 2 and they said, we're going to get the vibranium like literally 10 times. And my boyfriend was thinking in his mind, like, oh my God, like, why do they have to keep saying it? Like, this is ridiculous. And I literally was like, wait, so they're getting vibranium?
That's
and
what
he was
I
like,
need.
oh my God. No, I'm the same way. It takes me a long time. And by the time I get it, they're onto something else. And
Right.
then I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
You
I'm
would
the
think
same
that
way.
you guys would understand.
Yeah. You
Well,
would,
plot
you
and
would
things.
think.
You would think.
Yeah.
Maybe you get lost in the character and
Yeah.
you're living it with them.
Did you have an answer there?
I love like an easy show, like a comfort, like a
She
Friends.
just wants to turn on Friends every night.
Me
I just
too.
want to watch Friends. I did just start watching Sex in the City though.
Ooh,
which
that's
I'm
a good
enjoying.
one.
I'm enjoying that. I've never watched it before. Well, I'm really excited to have you here and just have a good mental health conversation with you because I
Yeah.
think it's really cool when people that are in the Disney world talk about it because I feel like you guys have such access to a younger generation
Yeah.
that needs to hear the conversation and be more comfortable about talking about it because it's definitely something that is a little scary to talk about. Was there something that kind of sparked you sharing your story publicly?
Yeah, I think it was during COVID, like when the lockdown happened in 2020. A lot of my friends who, you know, growing up, like when I was 8 years old, like I started having like panic attacks and my mental health wasn't very good. And at the time, it wasn't really like talked about. None of my friends or like family, like extended family, like really knew what was going on.
Yeah.
And so during 2020, like so many people reached out to me and they're like, hey, I think I had that thing that you had when we were growing up. Wow. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I realized like, wow, a lot of people might be struggling with this for the first time because I feel like a lot of it's like a control thing. Like,
Yeah.
especially COVID, it was so out of our control. And then people are like, wait, like, you know, especially health anxiety and stuff. So then I was like, maybe I should start talking about it openly because I feel like there's a lot more people going through this than like we all think.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what started that whole journey. It was really
Yeah.
scary at first because I was like,
Yeah, I was going to ask.
like being like that vulnerable, but then
Yeah.
like seeing the response of it and seeing how many, just kids in general. I feel like kids especially, like no kid should have to go through that. So that felt really good. And now I just really like talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's so cool how like that's something we've learned with this podcast, how it's so scary. Then you finally say the thing and then it almost minimizes it in a way. Like after you finally say it, you're like, oh, it actually wasn't as like, you know, intense as it was in my brain. And it's so cool to see like the response and how everyone like relates to you. Cause there's always that thought of like, oh, like I'm the only person struggling with this, or people are going to think I'm weird for, you know, dealing with this or whatever. So it's really cool that you like got to experience that feedback.
Totally. Thank you. Yeah.
You said that anxiety, intrusive thoughts started around 8. Was there something that triggered that, or is that kind of just how it's always been for you?
Yeah, I think like my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was 7. And so I think like that whole time I just was like, oh, like my parents would be like, are you okay? Like, let's talk about it. And I was like, I'm so good. Like, and I feel like somehow at 8 years old, I don't know how, I was like, oh, my mom and dad are obviously going through so much. Like, I'm not going to burden them with my thoughts, which how does it like, but kids do, they do that. But like, it's kind of crazy to think about because you wouldn't think kids would know how to like, you know, go about that.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, so I think because I just kind of bottled a lot of stuff up, I started to get like intrusive thoughts just about like death and like health anxiety too, like with my mom, but also with myself. Like if I felt hot, like a little hot in like a room or something, I'd be like, oh no, like it's the end of the world. Like really irrationally, but yeah. And then I had a hard time going to school and all this stuff. But yeah, I think it kind of started from there. Yeah, I think that's where it kind of started from.
Yeah. How do you know that it's an intrusive thought at 8 years old? Like what? I guess like it's crazy that.
Yeah. How are you able to identify at all what you're going through? Like, do you even know what a panic attack is at that age? Like, do you know what an intrusive thought is? Like, or were you just feeling that way and you didn't realize that's what you were going through until you got older?
Yeah, I feel like at the time it's really weird. Even at 8, I could feel my brain going from like non-anxiety to anxiety. Like I remember like this specific day that it like switched. And then I was like, wait, what's like, I feel like I was just thinking like a lot more about things. I didn't know what it was at all. I feel like it took a couple years to like talk to like my parents and go to like a therapist, like a kid's therapist. And, and yeah. And I feel like the intrusive thoughts were more just about like death. And I didn't realize that they were kind of abnormal until I talked about it out loud. And like all the thoughts that I were thinking were like people don't think about, like, or they don't obsess about them. Yeah. Cause like, you know, you could be like going through your day and you're like, oh, like what is the meaning of life? And they're like, yeah. Anyways, like, okay, like whatever. But I would think about it and then I'd be like, wow, that was a scary thought. And then like the whole rest of the day, I'd just be like, oh, like, I wonder if everyone else is thinking about this. Like, I can't like, you know, I think that's where it becomes like intrusive.
Right.
Yeah.
When you give it power.
Right.
So I've been trying not to give them power, but some days it's easy. Some days it's not. So just
you
depends.
explained that very well because we were talking about like what exactly is an intrusive thought, but you explained that, I feel like, really well.
Yeah, that was helpful.
Yeah, because we were like, obviously it's like, you know, like I hear it and I'm like, oh, I know what it is, but I guess giving it like the power to take over your day.
Like when you're consumed.
Yeah.
Consumed by it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, so last week we talked about how Minted made our holiday card process stress-free, and guess what? Our cards just arrived and they are so gorgeous. I am so excited. We went with one of their luxurious letterpress designs and the quality is truly just unmatched. There's something about holding a beautifully crafted card in your hand that just makes you like feel so good. I love pretty stationery, pretty cards, and it just makes you feel good. And it's like a little piece of happiness you get to send out to your friends and family. And let's be real, in a world where we're so connected digitally, there's something special about sending a physical card. It's like a small act of mindfulness, taking the time to write a message and sending it off. Plus, Minted uses sustainable materials so you can feel good about your choices. Something else they do that is super amazing and that I love is they have free recipient addressing. They will print all of your loved ones' addresses on envelopes for free. If you want to make your holiday season a little brighter and a lot less stressful, we highly recommend checking out Minted. And because we love you guys, we've got a special code for you. You can use code SQUEEZED for 20% off your Minted holiday cards and gifts. That is code SQUEEZE for 20% off Minted holiday cards and gifts. You guys need to go check these out. It's just, who doesn't love a beautiful card? They're great. The holiday season is now here. She has slowly approached and she's fully arrived. And I don't know about you guys, but trying to put together a wish list for myself and honestly trying to find gifts for other people can be a little hard, but look no further because nobody does the holidays quite like Jenny Kane. They're known for their luxe sweaters, essentials, candles, and cozy throws, all which make the perfect gift. The cashmere Jackie sweater just landed and it's nothing short of incredible. You can button it up, wear it as a turtleneck, or unbutton for a fresh take on a classic crew neck. It's a must. If you're eyeing coats, look no further than the Theodore coat and a Prez coat. Both are musts for this season ahead, bringing added drama and ultimate cozies to your look. We also cannot forget about their home essentials like giftable candles, splurge-worthy decor, and my personal favorite, their soaps. Their dish and hand soaps are my absolute favorite. They have been in my kitchen sink for years. Their holiday gift guide just dropped, which makes gifting a total breeze. You can shop Jenny's Edit, favorites under $250, and plenty of other gift-giving categories. Plus, they have an incredible rewards program where you can earn up to 10% back with every purchase, and joining now is completely free. Gift yourself and your loved ones the best gift of all, Jenny Kane. Our listeners get 15% off for your first order. You can use code THESQUEEZE at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code THESQUEEZE. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about. How old were you when you went to therapy?
I was like 8 or 9.
Okay.
Yeah. I honestly didn't know what I was doing, like what therapy was.
Yeah.
So at first I would just make up like she'd be like, so like, what was your most fond memory this year? I'm like, I went to Ireland and met I've never been to Ireland. So I would just like make up stories.
Stop.
And then she, like, because I thought I just had to tell her stories because like that's what people said. But even through all of that, and
I've never been to Ireland.
yeah, I have no idea. And I would just like talk about all these things, but through me telling her stories and how my brain works, somehow she, you know, like gave me like exercises and helped. And like, I'm sure kids do that all the time.
Yeah.
But like in hindsight, I was like, what was I doing? I have no idea.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, shout out to Pat. She was great.
Aw.
So yeah, it really
Pat.
helped.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah.
Love you, Pat.
Was it your parents' idea to put you in therapy?
Yeah, because so the other weird thing too is I was like a huge theater kid. So I was in performing arts and that helped, but also made things harder. Like I wouldn't want to go on stage sometimes. And my parents were really helpful. And my dad studied psychology and in college and all this stuff. But I was such a happy kid and so extroverted that they were like, oh, these are like symptoms of anxiety and stuff. But like, there's no way. Cause like, she's just so happy and whatever. But you could be this like at this two at the same time. But after a while, they were like, you know what? I feel like she needs to talk to somebody who might be more specialized in it because we want to make sure that she's okay. So yeah, that's why I went into therapy. But I feel like it was hard for them at first to like really comprehend that I was like troubled or sad about things when I was such a happy kid.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How long did you do it for?
Probably like a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they like teach you tools or I'm just like, I've never thought about that before.
Yeah, kids' psychology and therapy to me is very fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. I remember my guidance counselor at school because I would go to the nurse's office every day. And then like at a certain point, they were like, nope, that way, because they knew who I was. And then I went to the guidance counselor and she basically gave me like a stress ball. And like when you would press it, it would be like, you're okay. And like stuff like that. So like it was like little exercise. It was like breathing exercises and being like, no, like being present and stuff. And a lot of it I just didn't realize like worked. But I think in hindsight, it did actually work. But since I was like, you know, like 8 or 9 at that point, I just was like, okay, I guess I'll just like breathe. But it actually does help. Like just like centering yourself and breathing.
Wow.
But, and then in the, like all the kids in my class, like without them asking, I'm like, yeah, this is a stress ball. It's like, whatever. It's like, it's pretty cool. Trying to mask the fact that it's like a stress ball.
I got it in Ireland.
Yeah, I got it in Ireland. It's a toy that my great grandfather had through generations. So, yeah.
Oh, that Ireland thing is so good. So as you've like grown and gotten older, how is your anxiety, mental health, kind of everything? How has it grown with you? Has it changed much? Like, what are some differences that you notice?
It definitely has grown a lot. I feel like definitely more positively. I feel like where I was when I was younger to now is just like, you know, so different. I feel a lot more, like, I mean, just open about like talking about it all, but also more manageable. I feel like, and it just like, hopefully people like listening will have hope that if they're in like in a really bad spot, now it is completely possible it doesn't go away. Like that's one thing I like would wish that I'm like, I wish I was normal. I wish I was whatever, but like that doesn't happen, but it becomes more manageable and then you use it for your own good. At least that's what I'm trying to do now. Like I'm not like, it's still a work in progress, but at least what I'm trying to do now is like see it more as like a good thing of like, okay, I'm really highly sensitive and overthink a lot. So like, let me try to use that for good. Yeah. Or like with people and with stuff. So you can like make people more comfortable because you're like, you know, like what people are. Yeah. I don't know. So I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, no, I feel like I'm very similar with that and how I feel like I feel like anxiety, I do wish it would go away. But at the same time, when I do have those days where I am really anxious or I am having a panic attack, I know that I'll get through it. So it gives me like a little more of like a hopeful outlook.
Totally.
Like when I wake up and I'm like, oh, I'm literally like shaking today and I don't know why or what's going on. But, you know, I know I'm going to breathe. I know I'm going to do these things. And Taylor's been so helpful with me. I feel like we've got a really good little like process down of like how you,
That's sweet.
I had a panic attack. I think probably the worst one that I've had like a month ago. I was driving. I was driving home. I've realized that I like alone time, but if I'm not in the right headspace, alone time is not good for me.
Yes. Yeah.
But I'm an only child, so I need alone time. Love it. I need alone time to recharge. Like I'll leave Taylor downstairs. Sometimes I'll just like go up in the bedroom and lay in bed and scroll on my phone for 15 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'm recharged. Like I needed like myself. But I was traveling home and I was just like in my headphones, like just by myself all day. And it was definitely more of an anxious time period. And we were going through some stuff and I called him and I like could not breathe, like felt like I was going to pass out while driving, but I was on PCH and I couldn't like pull off anywhere. And he was like, you were giving me like affirmations and you were like, just take deep breaths. You got this. Like, it's okay. Just breathe. And I feel like that was like very helpful.
It's helpful.
Yeah.
Because I've never been trained in how to, what to do in that scenario.
No, but going through stuff like this, it's been like, he's been very helpful. Just like knowing and not being like, you're fine. Like, what are you doing? You do tell me I'm fine, which I do need to hear half the time, but you walk me
but I
through.
also understand that it doesn't like in that moment, it doesn't matter if you're fine. Like,
no, but you know, the days, I feel like some days I'm like anxious about I just work myself up about things. And he's like, you're okay. Come down a couple levels. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, you're right. So I do need to hear it sometimes. And
she's just like a thought spinner. Like she just like her thoughts just, you know,
they really go.
Very relatable. Yeah. But like what usually like sets them off? Is it like,
that's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I think that's maybe the
because half of the time she can't even identify what it is that like sometimes she's like, well, I started thinking about this and then I think I just spiraled. But that's probably half of the time. The other is she's like, I don't even know. I don't know.
So, there will definitely be some days I wake up and I'm like, what's the word I used? I'm just like really like tense. Like my body is just like, I feel very tingly. My chest feels really heavy. Like, I don't know. Like, like I feel like I got electrocuted. I'm trying to think of the word I used the other day.
Did you not use tense?
Right.
Yeah, maybe that's...
It was something to do with like you were describing your like muscles and I think it might have been tense.
Yeah, like I felt like I had to like keep like going like this. Right. It was so
like,
weird.
Going, yeah, I know.
But sometimes I'll just like wake up and that'll just like be how it is. And I'm like, oh, did I like dream about things or something from the night before? I've gotten in a better like routine of, I feel like because my brain spins, I always need to have like a piece of paper by me or my phone so I can write down because I feel like I'm going to like miss a thought. And there's just like so many different things that I feel like
she loves a list.
I love a list so much.
Yeah. My notes app.
Yeah.
It's my
calendar's color coordinated. It's
Same.
like I live by it.
No way.
I need it. No. And Taylor's like, what's a calendar? I'm like, nah. That's the story. That kind of person meets a calendar list person and they marry each other.
Yeah.
That's how it works. You keep me in line though. True. And you calm me down though for sure. How does your like anxiety manifest? Like for me, a big thing is stomach stuff.
Same. Oh my God. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
My stomach. That's I know. I think you might be the same person. Yeah. No, my stomach. I feel like. I feel like it might be. The other day, I literally was like, I don't know if there's like gluten intolerance or like people with anxiety just can't eat gluten. Yeah. Because like I think every time I eat bread, it just something goes wrong. But which is so unfortunate. I eat it anyways. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely stomach. Like ever since I was a kid, even when I was 8, like the first panic attack I had, it all started from my stomach. So I feel like I definitely people hold it in a bunch of different places, but I think mine's my stomach for sure. Like but the other day, I feel like my stomach started to hurt and I was like, nope, that's not real. I was like, that's just my brain. So I was like, y'all like go to bed, whatever.
Yeah.
And it, and then it just like kind of went away and I was like, whoa, that was like the first time in my life I've ever done that. So,
Wow.
but now I'm like, you just know when it's like, like anxiety stomach or like something like real.
Yeah.
Actually, it's really hard to tell the difference.
I feel like I always have to have like water or like something bubbly with me. Like if I'm in the car, I like need to have water. I'm like, what if I like, I don't know, my stomach hurts and I like need water.
Yeah.
That's like that's my,
I know, like
my
when
crutch.
you wake up in the morning, you have to eat like right away so that like your stomach won't hurt. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Or it's like, what if you're in the car? Like, where are the bathrooms? Like, I need to make sure that there's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Or if I'm going to a concert, okay, like where's like where's like the bathrooms at?
Yeah.
Where's the emergency
I feel like
exits?
you got a little bit of my stomach anxiety has gotten better. I've also like I was born lactose intolerant, so like I've like just out of the womb just been a little messed up in there.
Right.
And I now like I take a probiotic and it helps things a lot in like my everyday life. When we first started dating, my stomach was not well at all, and I think it's because I was probably anxious too. But I had started taking my probiotic. But there was multiple times we would be like going like into town for like a date or something, and I would feel like I was gonna throw up in the car if I wasn't, and I would make him pull off to a gas station and go into the bathroom, and like I wouldn't go to the bathroom and I wouldn't throw up. But it was just like my anxiety. And then I get back in the car and be like, well, nothing happened. But
Yeah, that did happen a few times.
yeah, I know. That only happens now when I'm at the nail salon.
Which is weird.
I have this, it's a long, I think it's the fluorescent lights. I worked as a COVID nurse and I have a lot of like PTSD from that. So I think it's the lights. I don't know. But it happens almost every time I get my toes done. But I've realized now it's not really with my nails. It's mainly when I'm getting my toes done. But I think it's because there's probably a list of reasons why it's because, but now when I go, I get cold water. I put my feet in cold water instead of hot water, and it doesn't like get my heart rate going. It like calms me down. And they're like cold. I'm like, yeah, make it cold. And that's helped the past few times.
Weird.
Interesting. What do you think? Like the hot water?
I think, well, because your feet are like a big like heat receptor, and there's a lot of nerve endings in your feet. And so I think when it gets heated up, I already have like a little bit of anxiety. I'm like, and then my stomach starts hurting, and then I feel like I have to like throw up, and I think it just gets me heated, and then my heart rate starts to go up a little bit. So I think that it just is like giving me like a false alarm in my head.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So now I do cold.
You
and
probably
fine.
could use some cold plunging.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Probably
those are
would be great for you.
those are crazy.
I know.
I just do it like the ice baths.
Can you do it?
Barely.
Yeah.
Like you're
Same.
like just sitting there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But when you get out, you feel so good.
I know.
But while you're in it, it's crazy. I've never felt anything like that before.
I know.
Insane.
Do you do that and then into the sauna?
Yeah, I did. Okay. I did for me and my friends. For my friend's birthday, we went to this like, what's it called? Spa. Yeah, and it was like a sauna, like ice bath thing, and you go back and forth. It was actually really fun.
Yeah.
But we were just giggling the whole time because it's like crazy.
Yeah.
But the sauna feels so good after the ice bath.
The ice bath does not feel good after the sauna.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah. But I feel like that sometimes you have to, it's good to end there though.
Where?
In the ice.
I like ending. I'm acting like I do it all the time. The one time I did it.
I only did it once.
Yeah. I did this rotation
We're professionals,
one time.
it's fine.
When I do it, I did like to end with the ice bath because the sauna like relaxes you.
Yeah.
So unless you like want to be tired and like go take a nap after,
Right.
I enjoyed.
Oh yeah. I remember feeling that now.
What?
At that place.
My Koba? Yeah.
When we did it. He did it and then he was like, and then I did it. And then
I did do it each day.
You
so
did
I
do it
guess it
multiple
wasn't
times.
once. It
you
was
did like
just
4 times.
Yeah, it was the 3
You're
or
a
4 days that we were
professional.
there.
You're
yeah.
a professional
Yeah.
at this point. Good job, honey.
Thank you. Anyways, when did you start acting?
When I was like a theater kid until I was like 10, 11. So
Okay.
like probably like 11
Okay.
or so. Kind of like went into like TV acting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've chosen a career path that I feel like sometimes isn't the best on your mental health.
Yeah.
How do you think your career has impacted your mental health and anxiety, and vice versa?
Yeah, definitely a lot. I think it's weird because I feel like performing and putting myself out there really helps my anxiety, because it's like, at least like intrusively, I'm always like, oh, I'm very anxious, whatever. So like I'm weak kind of thing. But then when you like do the stuff that you love while going through it, it's like, wow, I'm actually like, this is like a strong thing. So that makes me feel a lot better that I can get through my anxiety to do the things that I love. But on the other hand, yeah, it's, I feel like being in this business and it just being very like competitive and trying to figure out where your worth is, like like with career. And I feel like now social media is like a really big thing for me. I think just like being perceived in general, I overthink that a lot.
Yeah.
So I think that's like one of my main overthinking things. Yeah.
It used to be so much easier like before social media, because I mean, like, even for me, 10 years ago, like you didn't have to hear so many of the opinions.
Yeah.
Like you could just do your work. And I mean, there'd be like articles and stuff, but not like every day you just seen like hundreds of comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's definitely more complicated today.
Yeah. And like you didn't get social media till like later. You were a late bloomer with it. But I feel like you are within, I mean, I'm only a couple of years older than you, so I am also in that generation, but you're within the generation that has really just like grown up with social media. So I feel like we're starting to see how that has like impacted us.
Totally.
And like what that looks like. Have you had to like set any boundaries with social media?
Yes. Yeah. I have this app called Refocus on my phone. And so it basically like blocks the social media apps, but then you can unblock it. So like when I am posting and stuff, you just unblock it for like 10 minutes and then post. So it just like limits my scrolling. Yeah. Because I want to be active on social media, but I don't want to scroll because that's when I start spiraling. Because, you just start like comparing yourself. You start literally everything that comes with social media. It just like happens all at once. You're like crying one video, you're laughing one video. It's like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Does it block it? Refocus?
Yeah.
That's
what it's called, right?
Refocus.
I was saying it, so I want to remember.
Does it block it like after a certain amount of time, or just those apps are permanently blocked on your phone unless you go in and unblock them?
Yeah. You can do both. You can be like, I'm setting like a 15-minute like time for Instagram. So like when you wake up, for like the 24 hours, you only have 15 minutes, and then after 15, so like you can do like 30 seconds here, then in the afternoon, like 2 minutes or whatever. Got it. But mine is just like, that's what I did at first. And I was like, I just want to like get rid of it. So yeah, they're just blocked. Wow. But it's just TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Okay. It's hard, but yeah.
That's cool.
That's so good. I recently had a day that I just didn't like go on social media at all. And it's crazy how much time it takes up in your day. Yeah. Like I feel like I did so much stuff, and it's hard when like you're having to post on social media, like when like for your job, or like it's like incorporated into things. So it's hard to be able to like get off it, because I'll go on and I'm like, oh, I have to post. And then I'm like scrolling. I'm like, oh wait, why did I come on here? Like 10 minutes later, I'm like, oh, I forgot I had to do this. But when I took that day off, I was like, oh, like this is actually really nice, and I need to incorporate that more. Yeah. We both got to get better at our
It's wild how much like when doing anything in my day, like waiting online for something or just sitting down, like I would go to like type in like Instagram or like TikTok, and then it like comes up blocked. But like without even me, like I'm literally just like, and then I'm like, oh, well, I was subconsciously like typing it in. Like that's insane. Yeah. Like so many times a day. Like I still do. And then it's blocked, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this.
That's what I was doing that day. So many times I click on the app and open. I'm like, wait, no, I don't want to go on here. Yeah. Like it's so subconsciously, and it's not even on my homepage. Like I have to swipe to get to it. Yeah. But it was just like literally in rhythm to do that.
Yeah. It's wild.
They know what they're doing over there.
They do.
They really know what they're doing. Today's episode is brought to you by Ollie. Clean, fresh nutrition your dog needs in 5 flavors they'll absolutely flip over. You don't have to be a veterinarian nutritionist to know that feeding your dog real whole foods with minimal processing is one of the best choices you can make for their health. A perfectly portioned whole fresh food diet has been proven to extend your pup's life 2.5 years. Who doesn't want more time with their best friend? With absolutely no harmful fillers, no preservatives, Ollie is made in U.S. kitchens with ingredients carefully sourced from trusted growers and producers around the world. Because the time between Ollie's gentle cooking and your dog's chowing down is minimal. They do not need any preservatives to extend their shelf life. When I tell you guys that Lily and Remy have absolutely been loving their Ollie, I'm literally not exaggerating at all. They are so excited for mealtime. And it's really cool. Rem has no problem eating, but Lily is our one that is like a little picky with her food. And she is jumping for joy when it's food time because she is ready and truly just loves Ollie. They have a few different flavors. There's fresh beef with sweet potatoes, fresh turkey with blueberries, and fresh lamb with cranberries. They seriously are loving each and every one of them. And right now, Ollie is offering a fantastic deal to let your pup taste test a personalized meal plan. Right now, Ollie is offering a fantastic deal to let your pup taste test a personalized meal plan. So head to ollie.com, tell them about your dog, use Squeeze, and you'll get 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe today. Head to ollie.com and enter code SQUEEZE to get 60% off your first box. They offer a clean bowl guarantee on their first box, so if you're not completely satisfied, you can get your money back. Your pups are going to love this. I can't wait for you guys to try. Okay, Lemon Drops, I have a challenge for you. If you were to go into your bathroom right now, pull out all of your skincare products, how many would be in there? Because if you're like me, I have a feeling there is way too many products that don't get used and are honestly just sitting in there, taking up space and expiring. But what if I said that you just need 5 products that you would proudly put on display on your vanity? Well, with JLo Beauty, that's all you need for radiant, glowing skin. Get that JLo glow with JLo Beauty's Deluxe Kit, the one-and-done skincare solution clinically proven to boost your skin's radiance and luminosity for an immediate and lasting glow. The JLo Deluxe Kit is an easy-to-follow AM/PM solution that gives your skin a smoother, visibly brighter look, improves the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, and protects against UVAs and UVBs. That blockbuster hydrating cream makes my skin so plump and dewy, and I could see why 100% of people from an 8-week clinical study who tried said they had smoother skin. Also, the container is just so pretty. I want to leave it out on my counter to show it off. And it's so chic yet affordable, which is something that I absolutely love. JLo Beauty products look and feel luxurious with ingredients and packaging that you would expect from the most premium skincare brands. Get the only skincare routine you'll need. Head to jlobeauty.com/squeeze to receive 20% off. 3 free gifts, including 2 quality face masks and 1 hydrating bezel balm. Head to jlobeauty.com/squeeze for 20% off and 3 free gifts, a $175 value. jlobeauty.com/squeeze. So I don't know if you lemon drops are like me, but I feel like I'm not a big drinker, but I'll go out and have a glass of wine or 2 with some friends, go get a drink at a bar. And for some reason, just as I've gotten older, I am hungover the next day. I do not feel good. And I don't really know why that is, but I have to tell you about this game-changing product that I use the night before I go out to drink with friends, and it's called Pre-Alcohol. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic Drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink it, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break down this byproduct. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly and you'll feel your best tomorrow. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I get why everyone is talking about it. And with their GMO technology, ZBiotics is continuing to invent probiotics that will help everyday challenges of modern living. Go to zbiotics.com/squeeze to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use squeeze at checkout. ZBiotics is backed with 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/squeeze and use code squeeze at checkout for 15% off.
What tools or resources have you found helpful when it comes to your mental health? Like, is there something, if you're feeling anxious, that you do, or if you've had a long week, something that you like to do for yourself?
Yeah, I feel like breathing is really important, but like deep breathing, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, like deep breathing. And I think it helps center you. Like for a while I was like, yeah. Like when people would be like, just breathe. I'm like, I am.
Yeah.
And then you're like freaking out. But just, like really taking the time to just like recenter yourself, like really helps. Also, what really helps is like the 5 things you see.
Yeah.
4 things you hear.
Yeah.
3 things.
What is this?
It's the 5, 4, 3, 2. It's your senses. 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you smell. Or maybe 3 things you feel.
You feel.
Thank you.
Yeah. 2 things you smell and 1 thing you taste.
Yeah. 5.
I don't even know.
What are you supposed to do? Just think about that?
You go through,
Yeah.
It's a grounding where you sit and it's like 5. I see the chair. I see the camera. I see it's
Got
like
it.
what you see. And then what am I hearing? I hear pants.
As you're taking like deep breaths.
Yeah.
I saw this one thing. It was like doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 at a club.
Oh boy.
I thought that was so funny.
I mean, that's a place you got to use it.
I know.
Hectic.
But yeah, like
funny.
just to like recenter yourself. So
Yeah.
you like take deep breaths while doing that, and it just like makes you more present. And then you forget, like sometimes you like forget like what you were even worrying about in the first place. And you're like, oh no, everything's fine. Like I'm here and it's okay.
Yeah.
And then also just music helps a lot too.
Yeah.
I really like Bob Marley a lot. He's my favorite. And because all of his songs are literally like, everything's gonna be all right. And I'm like, you're right, Bob. You're right.
You're right,
Yeah.
So right,
Bob.
Bob.
Just listen to Bob.
Come on.
Bob and Pat.
Bob and Pat. Bob and Pat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that
Have
really
you like
helps.
trained in breath work? Have you like been like
No.
Okay.
I haven't. But that would be I want to look into that. I want to get more into meditation too.
Yeah.
Because it really does help a lot. I took a class. I never can say the word. It's like transcendental.
Oh, yeah.
Oof, don't ask us.
Transcendental.
We'll like put it on the screen
Meditation.
or something.
Yeah, and I took a course and it's really cool because it's like you're not trying to stop your thoughts. Like you just sit there for like 10 minutes every morning and every night, and you sit there in silence and you just like let all the thoughts come by. But you just like want it, like helps your day.
Huh.
I maybe did it for 3 days and I haven't done it since, honestly.
Yeah.
But I really, really want to. I feel like it's so beneficial to like wake up like before your day, like wake up like an hour or 2 before and like, like meditate or like walk around. So
Yeah.
you're not just waking up and going
Right.
like that's when my most anxious days are is when I roll out of bed and go
Yeah.
right to. But I do that a lot as well. So I'm not saying that I wake up with 2 hours, but I'm trying to because there's a big difference when you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Even like getting like one of those mornings in like once or twice a month, I feel like is good. Like that's a good place to start.
Oh yeah.
I went to the beach the other morning. I like woke up at 6 and I was anxious and I was like, I need to go sit in the sand by myself. And I went and picked up a coffee, sat in the sand. It was literally the best thing ever. I
That's
came home. I was
so
like, I'm
nice.
doing this all the time. Haven't done it since, but I really want to.
Right. Yeah. Oh, it's so nice. Yeah.
Hey, at least we're like honest about it because when people,
Yeah.
I just
gotta
never
be.
understand how people can do it all. I strive to do that one day. Maybe not drive to the beach every morning because that's really a lot of time.
Yeah.
But
Right.
something like that would be good. Maybe just like the 10 minutes of breathing and conscious thinking. I'm not going to
transcendental.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. I had a question. Have you been to Ireland yet?
No, no, I haven't.
Okay.
But I am Irish, so I do want to go.
Okay.
So it wasn't that far off.
No, exactly.
Okay.
But I think I said something like, oh, like my grandparents were there. And like, well, also my parents like my dad's side of the family, there's like this thing. Do you know Blarney?
What's Blarney?
Like when like you basically they're like truth enhancers or lie enhancers. But like you tell a story and the base is true. But you kind of, you're like, you
That's
know,
how Taylor
we
tells
got
stories.
into a fight and 30 guys came out and were fighting each other. And like my brother came in and smashed a table. In reality, it was like 2 guys.
Got it.
No
Yeah.
table was smashed.
Yeah.
But it's like called like the gift of the Blarney, like
That's
to
funny.
like tell good stories. Anyway, so there's so many things in my family that are probably like not true. Like there was this one where it was like my grandma and grandpa like lived in Ireland and one was Catholic, one was Protestant, and they met and ran away to Ellis Island together. I'm like, but my grandparents like grew up in Brooklyn. So that was literally all a lie. But I was probably telling those stories to Pat. So
Oh my gosh. Pat
And they're
probably
fa-
got some really good stories.
oh yeah. And I definitely got that from my dad. Yeah. It's so funny.
You got the Blarney gene?
I did, yeah. But I try to clock it now. I try not to.
Yeah.
Because I'm so aware of it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually feel like you used to do that more, but you've gotten better.
Really?
You're just a storyteller. So like you
Okay.
just like get into it. And I'm like, that wasn't really just like fluff a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. My mom
like
and
a
I
good
will
story.
always like my dad will tell stories and we're just crying laughing because it could not be more far from the truth.
Yeah.
And we were just like trying not to like kill his spotlight.
Right.
So
gosh.
but it is so funny. It's hilarious.
That's so good.
Very nice.
Okay, I want to talk about music.
Yeah.
You mentioned it a little bit. Did you start making music before or after the Zombies friend? Like when that started?
When I was like 13, 14, I started like writing songs and
cool.
and that's something that I wanted to do. But I genuinely thought like you had to be in LA and like really like cool and like to like go into a studio and like record music. I didn't
Yeah.
think you like could.
Yeah.
So I was wrong, but now yeah, so when Zombies happened, there was a producer of one of the songs who was like, "Hey, like you're from New York, I'm from New York, like come back when you're back home, like we can work on music." And that's
Okay.
like what kind of started that whole journey.
Oh dang, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's been like a while of like just making music and figuring out like what works and everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you enjoying it?
I really am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's taken me a while to find like the sound that I really wanted to put out into the world.
Yeah.
Because I listen to so just like my music taste is very eclectic. So I feel like trying to figure out like which genre of music that like I related to the most was like
Yeah.
really difficult to find, but also so much fun because I just experimented with so many different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I finally found like a specific sound that I really like. So,
That's cool.
I love
so
that.
yeah.
Are you wanting to focus more on music or acting or not really?
Honestly, like both.
Okay.
Like I still like acting a lot. But with music, I've never really fully put everything into it. And I feel like
Yeah.
this is like the timing of everything is really working out now. So I would say I'm more like focused on music than acting, but I still really do love acting. Would love to continue to act. So
Cool.
I love that.
yeah.
Can you tell our lemon drops, those are our listeners, that's what we call them, about your last single, By My Heart, and then your new single, In My Bag?
Yeah. By My Heart was a song that I wrote with Cadence, who's so incredible, at the top of the year. And I feel like it's just kind of about, you know, judging people by who they are and, you know, not by maybe their actions or things that they say. It's like a lot of times I worry about how people, like I said before, like how people perceive me and how, like, if people are like talking about me behind my back and all this stuff, like I just, you know, overthink that stuff a lot, especially in this business. But the people who are in like my core group and my family who really love me, like will always know like my intentions and like who I am and will know that I'm not any of the people that people who don't know me will say.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like the song's kind of just about that of like making mistakes is okay. Like you can be afraid. Don't be afraid to make mistakes because that's just like human. Everyone's going to at some point.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of times I get so scared to like mess up or say the wrong thing because then I'm like, oh, people are going to hate me and whatever. And I think it's okay. And if you're aware of that too, I think that makes you a good person. I always get really scared. I'm like, oh, am I a terrible person?
Yeah.
But I think at least what my friends tell me is like, oh, if you're aware of that, like, then you're a good person. So who knows? But yeah, that's basically what the song is about. And I really like it a lot. It means a lot to me. And I'm really happy that people are resonating with it. And then in my bag is pretty much the other side of my personality. That's just like, you know, like confident, and it's kind of like I would say it's like a get ready song. Like if I was like going out or something, I would like to listen to it to get confident and be like, I want to dance tonight. I want to go out with my friends. And so it's kind of the other side of like, you can be vulnerable, but then also confident at the same time.
Yeah.
So
that.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
We'll leave a link for Lemon Drops to go stream it.
Yes.
Yeehaw. Sweet. Okay, should we do Lemon 7?
Let's do it.
Okay. This is our final little segment. 7 questions. You can rapid fire. You can go into a monologue, whatever your heart feels like answering them. And you can start us off.
Okay, I sure will. I feel like we haven't done Lemon 7 in a while.
I know, sorry.
Gotta look at these. Okay, number 1. What movie or song title best describes your mental health today? Movie or song?
Movie or song?
Or TV.
Or TV.
We don't discriminate.
Yeah. Maybe a Bob Marley song.
Yeah, maybe.
I
feel like every title of everything ever is just not.
Yeah.
That just like went out of my mind.
Right.
What's like a good like the actual title or like this like the movie or song itself, you know?
I got an idea for you. Are you feeling in your bag?
Yeah. I'm feeling in my bag.
Yeah.
In my bag. You're so right.
Good job.
Yeah.
Buddy. Good job.
In my bag.
Love it.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're giving off in your bag.
Yeah.
In my bag energy. That's good. Number 2 is how open are you with people in your life when struggling?
I feel like I'm pretty open with people in my life. But I can be like closed off at times, but I feel like it's like 50-50. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah.
Never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Number 3, if you could only follow 3 social media accounts, what would they be?
Okay, probably SpongeBob.
Wow.
Yeah.
We really are.
You are the same person.
Yeah. Do you like SpongeBob?
Yes. And Taylor didn't watch it, and I always try to quote it, and he doesn't.
It's not true that I didn't watch it.
Okay.
You just quote it all the time, and I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's so
It's
funny.
the biggest strain in our marriage.
That's so funny. Yeah, my boyfriend wasn't allowed to watch it growing up either.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Was there like
I don't
raunchy
know.
humor in it? Like
A little bit.
okay.
I mean, it probably went over like a kid's head.
Yeah.
I think parents just didn't like
It also was probably annoying.
Yeah.
Like as a parent listening to
I
it.
think.
Interesting.
There was a study that went out and then it got debunked, but it was out for a while that like watching SpongeBob makes you lose brain cells.
What?
And then it got debunked later, but a lot of parents like took that seriously and so
Wow.
whatever. But
Oh my gosh.
but I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I remember meeting the guy that played SpongeBob.
You've never told me this.
Yeah, I don't think I have.
Frick.
I think it was at like
Tom Kenny?
maybe.
Yeah.
I was doing a voice job and he was one of the other actors and the
Cool.
producers were like, Taylor, he's the voice of SpongeBob. And I was like, no way. And I remember him doing the laugh for me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was very cool.
That's so cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I
In
got to
real
hear
life.
that in person.
Wow.
Jealous.
You're so cool.
Yeah,
Frick.
I know.
Okay, SpongeBob.
Okay, SpongeBob. What other accounts do I follow that I really like? I feel like 2 other like meme accounts.
Yeah.
Probably like I don't know. Yeah, 2 meme accounts.
'Kay.
And SpongeBob.
'Kay.
Just all memes
Good
everywhere.
vibes.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah, that's a good
Comfort.
one.
Yeah.
Enjoy those. Number 4 is, what is your favorite form of self-care?
My favorite. Oh, Casey Frey. That's who I was thinking of. Do you know that Instagram guy?
Oh, I'm so bad with
Yeah,
names.
you know.
You'll have to show me
He's so
after.
good.
I
Yeah, I'll show
probably
you.
know.
Casey Frey is number one, then SpongeBob,
Wow.
then like a meme account. Yeah, I love Casey Frey.
What? Who's Casey Frey?
I'll show you guys.
I need to look. I'm so bad with knowing
He's
the
the
names of
best.
things.
I also really like Brittany Broski a lot.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I would like.
She's funny.
I feel like I would follow her on like YouTube. I'll follow her on Instagram too.
Huh.
Okay, final answer: SpongeBob, Casey Frey, and Brittany Broski. Okay,
Okay.
Locking it in.
locking it in. Final answer. And then my favorite form of self-care is probably like journaling. I love going to a cafe and just like writing. I call it girl bossing, but it's literally responding to texts and emails.
Yep.
So funny.
But I really love doing that and just like walking and journaling. If I could do that for like a full day, that would just be amazing.
When you journal, do you just like free write or do you have like a format that you follow?
I just whatever is coming out of my mind, I just like write it all down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
love
try
that.
to like make it into something. Yeah.
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 That's cool.
Number 5. What would you say is the most misunderstood thing about you?
Ooh. I don't know. I feel like something that's really interesting about social media is like it's always kind of the best parts of you and it can be like curated a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've met a lot of people in person and they're because of my Instagram or something, they're like, "Oh, I didn't think you were going to be as like like weird."
Right.
Like not in a bad way, but
Right.
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, like your social media doesn't really
Yeah.
like bring that across. It's like seems like I would be more, I don't even know, like intimidating or something."
Right.
Which I hope not. I hope like people don't think that way. But yeah, so I think that's what's misguiding is maybe I look more like
Yeah.
on social media or something
Yeah.
like that.
And
Yeah.
not as like quirky, funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I definitely like love fashion. I love like, you know, like posting those kinds of photos. But I'm trying to find a balance right now of kind of doing both.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Number 6 is who has had the most positive impact on your mental health?
Ooh. Probably Bob. His music just has helped me in like so many different ways. Like I usually put on headphones, even if it's like in public and stuff, and I'll like listen to him and he just makes me feel like automatically just more calm. And so his music has really helped me a lot. And then also my parents for just being really understanding and always knowing when something is off or wrong. So I feel like just I'm really grateful to have had them growing up. So
Sweet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the Bob movie?
I did.
Was it good?
Yeah, I
Yeah?
really liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was dope.
Okay.
Good
Yeah.
to know.
I knew that was either going to be a hit or miss.
Right,
but-
right. You never know with like bio
Yeah.
pics. Yeah.
Okay. Last but not least, number 7. If you could go back to one moment in your life, what moment would that be, and what would you say to yourself?
Ooh. I feel like if I could go back to a moment in my life, it would just be like a random like weekday when I was like 6 or 7. I just feel like your view on life was just so like vibrant, and you're just like going to school and coming back, and like your parents are like
Yeah.
they have dinner, and like just any day of that time period. I just miss it so much.
Yeah.
Just being a kid like that. And I would definitely tell my younger self to just stop being so hard on yourself, because I still am now, but even when I was a kid, I remember being really hard on myself for really no reason. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's no reason now too, even though I think there is. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I would just tell my younger self to just like be like authentic, like don't try to fit into whatever and just be yourself. But I feel like every little kid should hear that. I
Yeah.
think. So
Take it easy.
yeah.
Love
Well,
that.
Take it easy.
you're telling them and sharing your story, I think is so awesome. And
Thanks.
I'm so grateful that you joined us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This
was
was
an
so much
honor.
Oh my
fun.
gosh, I can't wait to film our TikTok.
Thanks. Yeah. Way.